The sexual revolution was built on lies. You are not liberated by promiscuity. It doesn't mean that you, in order to capture your full agency, that you have to sleep with people in the casual sense, outside of marriage, outside of the person that you love and are committed to. It doesn't make you more powerful. It doesn't make you more like a man. You shouldn't try to be more like a man. The sexual revolution is full of abuse and manipulation and coercion. It makes sex transactional, and the people that are transacted are women. It hurts women. There's actually an article in the Wall Street Journal by a woman named Louise Perry. Louise Perry is the author of a book called The Case Against the Sexual Revolution. And this woman does not come at this from a Christian perspective per se. She comes at it just from a practical perspective. And I want to read to you just a little bit of what she wrote. She wrote, men on average prefer to have more sex and with a larger number of partners, while the vast majority of women, if given the option, prefer a committed relationship to casual sex. Sex buyers are almost exclusively men, and men watch a lot more pornography than women do. Men and women also differ dramatically in their baseline levels of sexual disgust, with women much more likely to be revolted by the prospect of someone they find unattractive. Disgust induces a physiological response that can be measured through heart and respiration rate, blood pressure, and salivation, although the individual may not be aware of these indicators. And studies find that on average, the sexual disgust threshold is much lower for women than it is for men. Being groped in a crowd, or leered at while traveling alone, or propositioned a little too forcefully in a bar, all of these situations can provoke this horrible emotion. It's an emotion that women in the sex industry are forced to repress. In fact, Perry writes, as the prostitution survivor Rachel Moran has written, the ability not to cry or vomit in response to sexual fear and disgust is one of the essential skills demanded by the industry. In the West, Perry writes, hookup culture is normative among adolescents and young adults. Although it's possible for young women to opt out, research suggests that only a minority do. Absent some kind of religious commitment, this is now the normal route presented to women and girls as they become sexually active. And hookup culture demands that women suppress their natural instincts in order to match male sexuality and thus meet male demand for no-strings sex. Isn't that interesting? Even setting religion aside, these first principles, this objective reality still exists. And listen to what she writes. Studies consistently find that following hookups, women are more likely than men to experience regret, low self-esteem, and mental distress. Female pleasure is rare during casual sex. Men in casual relationships are just not as good at bringing women to orgasm in comparison with men in committed relationships. In first-time hookups, only 10% of women orgasm, compared with 68% of women in long-term relationships. These figures don't suggest a generation of women reveling in sexual liberation. Instead, a lot of women seem to be having unpleasant sex out of a sense of obligation. And what did these girls from the Playboy Mansion say? They said they felt obligated. They felt coerced. They felt pressured. They didn't want to. It wasn't good for them. It made them feel gross. They suffered mental anguish and the physical manifestation of their mental anguish afterward. It hurt them. The sexual revolution hurts women.